Have you ever walked away from an argument, replaying it in your head for hours, thinking of the perfect comeback, the smarter line, the thing you should have said? Here's a hard truth most people never realize. The moment someone can make you angry, they're already controlling you. Not with strength, not with intelligence, but with a simple emotional button. And most of us don't even notice it happening. We think arguing harder means winning. We believe defending ourselves proves strength. We raise our voice, sharpen our words, try to dominate the moment. But in reality, something else is happening. Your nervous system has been hijacked. Someone says one sentence, and suddenly your mood changes. Your heartbeat rises. Your thoughts race. You react instantly, almost automatically. At that moment, you're not leading the conversation anymore. You're responding on command, like a remote control sitting in someone else's hand. The Stoics saw this centuries ago. They weren't interested in defeating people. They weren't trying to win debates or humiliate opponents. Their real goal was far more powerful: to remain undefeated by chaos. Because real strength isn't louder words. It isn't the perfect comeback. Real strength is calmness so steady that another person's anger starts to look small, even childish. Epictetus explained something revolutionary. We don't suffer because of what happens to us. We suffer because of the meaning we attach to it. An insult is just sound waves in the air until we decide it threatens our identity. And once we believe we must respond, we've already handed away our peace. Marcus Aurelius called this building an inner citadel, a mental fortress no one can enter without permission. What if the goal isn't controlling people? What if the goal isn't proving you're right? What if true power is simply protecting your own mind? Because the strongest person in the room isn't the one who wins every argument. It's the one who never loses themselves in one. And in the next few minutes, you'll discover how calm words, not angry reactions, can completely change the dynamic of any confrontation. Phrase 1, are you okay? Let's start with a response so simple. Most people underestimate its power. Imagine this. A coworker makes a sarcastic remark. A stranger throws a rude comment online. Maybe even someone close to you says something designed to sting. Your instinct is immediate. Defend yourself. You feel the urge to push back, explain, prove correct, because your brain interprets the moment as an attack. But here's something Stoic philosophers understood long before modern psychology confirmed it. Truly happy people rarely feel the need to tear others down. Think about it. When you feel secure, fulfilled, and at peace, do you walk around looking for people to insult? Of course not. Cruelty is often pain looking for an exit. Seneca wrote that those who lash out are often already suffering. Their anger isn't strength. It's leakage. Unresolved frustration spilling onto whoever happens to be nearby. So instead of reacting with heat, the Stoic response does something unexpected. You calmly ask, "Are you okay?" Not sarcastically, not as a joke, not to win moral points, and something fascinating happens. The entire dynamic flips. They expected resistance. They prepared for conflict. They wanted opponent versus opponent. Instead, you become the observer. Suddenly the focus shifts away from defending your worth and toward examining their emotional state. Your question acts like a mirror. It quietly communicates, "I'm not threatened by your words. I'm curious about what caused them." And fragile egos struggle when confronted with reflection instead of resistance, because anger feeds on reaction. But calm curiosity starves it. You're no longer playing the role they assigned you, victim, rival, or enemy. You're grounded, centered, in control. And here's the deeper Stoic lesson. When you refuse to feel offended, you reclaim authority over your inner world. You prove that respect isn't something you fight to win back in real time. It's something you carry within you. Sometimes the wisest response isn't a sharper argument. It's a calm question that reveals who is truly struggling in the moment. Phrase 2, anyway. Now here's a response that feels almost too simple to work. Yet psychologically it's incredibly powerful. Most people believe silence means weakness. We've been trained to think that if someone insults us and we don't respond immediately, we look small, passive, defeated. But social dynamics tell a completely different story. Silence creates pressure. When someone throws an insult, they're not just speaking. They're waiting for your face to change, waiting for your voice to rise, waiting for proof that they successfully moved you emotionally. Because reaction is the reward. And the moment you react, the interaction becomes a game they control. Stoic thinkers understood this deeply. You don't have to attend every emotional invitation you receive. So instead of firing back, you do something unexpected. You keep your posture relaxed. You maintain eye contact, or simply stay composed. You let 3, maybe 4 seconds pass. No rushing, no defending, no explaining. That silence feels longer than it actually is, especially for the person who just attacked you. Humans are uncomfortable with social vacuums. Our brains rush to fill the gap. And during those few seconds, their mind starts racing. Did I go too far? Why aren't they reacting? Did that even work? The emotional control they thought they had begins slipping away. Then, calmly, almost casually, you say one word. Anyway. And you return to what you were doing. You don't argue. You don't justify yourself. You simply move forward. That single word carries a powerful unspoken message. This moment doesn't deserve my energy. You treat the insult like background noise, a passing car alarm, loud, maybe annoying, but ultimately irrelevant. And here's the Stoic wisdom behind it. You don't rush to defend your value, because your value doesn't depend on real-time approval. Wise people are comfortable with silence. They understand that not every challenge requires engagement. Sometimes the strongest move isn't proving someone wrong. It's showing, through calm action, that their negativity never had the power to stop you in the first place. Phrase 3. You're allowed to think that. There's a hidden reason why so many arguments exhaust us. It's not really about facts. It's not about logic. And most of the time, it's not even about being right. It's about validation. We argue because we want the other person to agree with us. We want confirmation that we're understood, respected, and seen correctly. But here's the uncomfortable truth. You can live perfectly, act with integrity, explain yourself clearly, and some people will still misunderstand you. That's where Stoicism introduces one of its most powerful ideas: the dichotomy of control. According to the Stoics, life becomes simpler the moment you separate two things: what you control and what you don't. You control your choices, your behavior, your character, your response. But you do not control someone else's opinions, assumptions, or judgments about you. And yet most conflicts begin the moment we try to control exactly that. Someone labels you unfairly, misinterprets your intentions, insists they know who you are. Correct them. Defend yourself. Make them understand. But the Stoic response is calm, grounded, and surprisingly liberating. You simply say, "You're allowed to think that." Notice what happens here. You're not agreeing. You're not surrendering. You're not admitting defeat. You're stepping out of the fight entirely. It's like dropping the rope in a game of tug-of-war. The other person may still be pulling with all their strength, but suddenly there's no tension left to grab. The conflict loses oxygen, because your identity no longer depends on their approval. You're quietly communicating. Your opinion belongs to you. My peace belongs to me. And this changes everything. When your self-worth becomes internal instead of outsourced, arguments stop feeling like threats. You no longer chase understanding from people committed to misunderstanding you. You don't need every room to validate your story. You just need alignment with your own values. And, paradoxically, the moment you stop fighting for approval is the moment you become emotionally untouchable. Phrase 4. Did you mean to be that rude, or did it come out wrong? Now, let's clear up a common misunderstanding about Stoicism. Being calm does not mean being passive. It does not mean tolerating disrespect. And it definitely doesn't mean becoming a silent target for bad behavior. Stoicism isn't about avoiding confrontation. It's about handling confrontation with precision instead of emotion. Because sometimes silence isn't the right response. Sometimes a boundary needs to be drawn. But here's where most people go wrong. When faced with disrespect, they mirror the energy they receive. Rudeness meets rudeness. Anger meets anger. And within seconds, both people lose control. The Stoic approach is different. Instead of attacking the person, you calmly address the behavior. You say, "Did you mean to be that rude, or did it come out wrong?" Notice how powerful the structure is. You're not accusing, you're not insulting, you're not escalating, you're offering two possibilities. Option 1, they admit they intentionally meant to be rude, and most people won't do that, especially in public, because it instantly exposes poor character. Option 2, they acknowledge they spoke poorly and now feel compelled to correct themselves. Either way, something important happens. You pulled them out of emotional autopilot. Moments earlier, they were reacting from impulse, stress, insecurity, frustration. But your calm question forces their brain to switch gears, from emotion to awareness, from reaction to accountability. You're not attacking who they are. You're simply saying, I noticed that behavior. Do you want to stand by it? And that subtle shift changes the entire power dynamic. You become the calm adult in the room. No yelling, no humiliation, no loss of dignity, just clarity. And here's the deeper lesson. True strength isn't avoiding conflict. It's confronting disrespect without becoming disrespectful yourself. Because when you stay composed while setting boundaries, something remarkable happens. The chaos collapses, and respect quietly takes its place. Phrase 5. I'm not the audience for this. Here's something most people never notice about anger. Anger is often a performance. Watch closely the next time someone explodes. At work, in traffic, online, or even at home. They raise their voice. Their energy escalates. Their emotions become louder and louder. Why? Because anger needs an audience. Just like a stage needs spectators, emotional outbursts need participation to survive. And without realizing it, many of us accept the role we're given. We become the victim defending ourselves, the villain fighting back, or the second performer shouting right alongside them. The drama continues because we agree to play. But Stoicism teaches a radical alternative. You don't have to accept every role offered to you. Instead of arguing, explaining, or matching their intensity, you calmly say, I'm not the audience for this. Short, clear, final. You're not calling them wrong. You're not insulting them. You're simply refusing participation, and that changes everything. Because underneath the words, the message is powerful. This emotional performance doesn't belong in my mental space. You're setting a boundary without aggression. You're protecting what Marcus Aurelius called the inner fortress, the part of you that decides what deserves attention and what does not. Think about how much energy people lose every day reacting to noise, online arguments, pointless workplace tension, family conflicts that repeat the same patterns year after year. Each one pulls you further from peace. But when you say, I'm not the audience for this, you close the gate, not as someone avoiding conflict, but as someone choosing peace over chaos. You walk away not defeated, but disciplined. Because true maturity isn't proving you can win every emotional battle. It's knowing which battles are unworthy of your life. The strongest statement you can make is simply refusing to stay for the show. By now, you may have noticed something important. None of these phrases were designed to destroy someone. None of them were meant to deliver a clever comeback or humiliate another person, because Stoic wisdom was never about winning arguments. It was about protecting something far more valuable: your energy, your clarity, and your emotional freedom. Think about how much life people lose fighting battles that never mattered. Arguments that change nothing. Conversations where nobody listens. Moments where pride speaks louder than peace. Every unnecessary conflict quietly drains you. Your focus weakens. Your mood shifts. Your day, sometimes your entire week, becomes shaped by a single negative interaction. The Stoics understood this deeply. They asked a different question. Not how do I defeat this person, but is this worth my inner peace? Marcus Aurelius wrote, the best revenge is to be unlike the one who caused the harm. In other words, true strength isn't retaliation. It's refusing to let another person's anger transform you into someone you don't respect. When you respond with calm instead of aggression, you break a cycle older than civilization itself. The cycle of anger creating more anger. You stop passing chaos forward, and over time, something subtle begins to change. You speak less, but people listen more. You react less, but your presence feels stronger. Your words carry weight, not because they are loud, but because they are chosen carefully. Wise people understand that silence can be power. A pause can be leadership, and calmness can be the strongest statement in the room. So the goal was never to win against others. The real victory is this: walking through a noisy, emotional world and keeping your mind steady anyway. Because in the end, wisdom isn't measured by how many arguments you win, but by how peaceful you remain when chaos invites you to lose yourself. If this video gave you even one moment of calm, one new way to protect your peace, then you're already walking the Stoic path. This channel isn't about quick motivation or loud inspiration. It's about growing a quieter strength, the kind that helps you think clearly, live wisely, and stay steady no matter what life brings. So, if you want more ideas like this, more calm in a noisy world, take a moment to subscribe and walk this journey with us. And before you go, tell me in the comments, which phrase will you try first the next time life tests your patience? I read every comment, and your reflection might help someone else find peace too.